So what's in my bucket of bait then? Well, pretty much a standard mix for most of the year round really is party blend. I tend to use that more these days rather than hemp. Hemp's got too small. I find that's, you know, it's hard to prepare and some of it doesn't really crack like it used to, and that, so I've moved over to party blend. You get all sorts of shapes and sizes and colours in that. And tiger nuts, I add them in just prior to sort of putting them out there, because they're prepared separately, because they sometimes take a few days to prepare tiger nuts. They're hard and they need to be soaked properly and boiled properly. Next up from that, a bit of sweet corn. That varies from tin to frozen. You know, if I'm going to use a fair amount, I tend to use the frozen. Put that in with a mixture and it will soak up all the juices and whatever else is in with the particles, like the salt and any glugs or whatever. And then next on from that is boilies, because we quite often use like boilie rigs, so it'd be silly not to put boilies in there. We've got a variety of different sizes, sometimes put crushed boilies in, occasionally add a bit of pellet into the mix. I like to put a bit of salt in. Obviously in the spring, around spawning time, carps tend to crave a few minerals like salts and sugars, so both of them can go in. Tigers and that like naturally excrete it anyway, so you've got your sort of sweetness there, or your natural sugars. Salt, tend to add that in. I add that like while my particles are dry, put it in with the water and sort of like boil it into the particles, because I believe that you don't want them eating the bottom with your bait laying on top. You want them to eat like searching out your bait to get that salt. So that's my line of thinking with that. A lot of people just think you just chuck a bit of salt in your particle mix and spot it out, but I think you do a lot better to soak it into your bait. Other than that, a few glugs, like I tend to not go for oily things because I don't really want it floating up and off. I tend to prefer the glugs like in a bucket of particles, because again, they're water soluble, they'll soak into the particles, and obviously when you're spodding them out, you get all that nice gloopy, drippy, you know, like, I don't know, slime I suppose you'd call it, particle sludge. You know, some of that as you spot it out, that will sink back through the water and it will go into the lake bed. So even once the carp have cleared out of the bait, or the bird life has cleared it out, you'll still have that smell on the bottom. Well, that's about it really. That's pretty much what my bucket of particles consists of. The reason why I have a bit of a mixture of different shapes and sizes is this time of year, like spring, I'm trying to sort of clear off areas for in the summer when, you know, now the weed's coming up, so all the small items and that, you want it to get into the weed and all the detritus on the bottom, get the carp grubbing about and clearing it up. Obviously if the carp don't visit the spot, it's handy to get the birds interested, so obviously a few different colours, a bit of visual stuff like sweet corn and that can draw them in. Sweet corn's one of them, everything likes eating sweet corn, whether it's like small fish, carp and bird life. You know, that's a must, and I do like a bit of sweet corn. Like I said, boilies, use them because I tend to use boilie rigs. In the spring I'm using pop-ups, visual pop-up over the top, quite often a pineapple, kind of matches the colour of the sweet corn as well, so got a bit of all sorts going on there. And if the carp comes in, quite often it will go for the pop-up straight away because it's more visual, but later in the year when the spots clean off, I'll probably tweak the bucket a bit more and use less smaller items, start putting more bigger items in, probably sway more towards the sweet corn tigers and the boilie approach then. You want to clear the weed in the spring, but once the spots are open you don't want to make them any bigger, because if they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, carp will start shying off them. So really that's sort of kind of what's in my bucket in the moment, and it will be tweaked as we go through the year. Well, that's a bit of my particle knowledge, probably the most important bits I've sort of cherry-picked there to mention. It's one of them, if you're not giving particles a go, maybe give them a go this summer yourself, but bear in mind what you're putting out. Don't put too much of the same out of small stuff and expect to get bites in it, because effectively you're conditioning them to feed. If you use too smaller items, you're going to find them hard to hook, so mix it up a bit. Give it a go. I certainly will be this summer.